Navayogendra Swami, a few others. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivana Dari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivana Dari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivana Dari Gopi Janna Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivana Dari Suranandana Brajajana Ranjana Jasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivana Dari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivana Dari Suranandana Brajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Pravijakacharya Asatya Sata Shishimad. His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki, Anandakota Vaishnavanda Ki Jai, Namacharya, Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, ISKCON Founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Prem Sikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shamkun Radhakun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Shri Vrindavandam Ki Jai, Shri Maya Punavadam Ki Jai, Gangamaya Ki Jai, Jamunamaya Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhaktivedanta Ki Jai, Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai, Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Go Premanandi, all glory some devotees, all glory some devotees, all glory some devotees, all glory some glory, Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this morning we're reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 9. Anybody know what verse we're on? Chapter 11, text?
1, or the introduction. We're starting a new chapter. Right?
Are you sure? Oh. No, he didn't do the last verse.
Yes, he
He
did.
did?
Yeah, last verse doesn't have a purport.
Oh. Oh, I see. Okay. Chapter 11. Okay. The transcendental qualities of Vṛtrāsura. This chapter describes Vṛtrāsura's great qualities when the prominent commanders of the demons fled. Not hearing Vṛtrāsura's advice, Vṛtrāsura condemned them all as cowards. Speaking very bravely, he stood alone to face the demigods. When the demigods saw Vṛtrāsura's attitude, they were so afraid that they practically fainted. And Vṛtrāsura began trampling them down. Unable to tolerate this, Indra, the king of the demigods, threw his club at Vṛtrāsura. But Vṛtrāsura was such a great hero that he easily caught the club with his left hand and used it to beat Indra's elephant. Struck by the blow of Vṛtrāsura, the elephant was pushed back 14 yards and fell, with Indra on its back. Wow, that was a heavy blow. King Indra had first accepted Vishvarupa as his priest and thereafter killed him. Reminding Indra of his heinous activities, Vṛtrāsura said, quote, "If one is a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, he depends on Lord Vishnu in every respect. Then victory, opulence, and peace of mind are all inevitably available. Such a person has nothing for which to aspire in the three worlds. The Supreme Lord is so kind that he especially favors such a devotee by not giving him opulence that will hamper his devotional service. Therefore, I wish to give up everything for the service of the Lord. I wish always to chant the glories of the Lord and engage in his service. Let me become unattached to my worldly family and make friendships with the devotees of the Lord. I do not desire to be promoted to the higher planetary systems, even to Dhruvaloka or Brahmaloka, nor do I desire an unconquerable position within this material world. I have no need for such things." Unquote. Okay, here is text number 1. Sri Sukuvacha Ta Evam Sangsato Dharmang Vachaha Patyur Achetasaha Naivhagrananta Sambhranta Pralayana Para Nripa. Sri Sukuvacha Ta evam sangsato dharmam vacha pratyur achetasaha naivag nanta sambhranta palayana paranripa. Sri Sukuvacha Ta evam sangsato dharmam vacha pratyur achetasaha naivagrantha sambhranta pralayana paranripa. Sri Sukuvacha Ta evam sangsato dharmam vacha pratyur achetasaha Naivagnanta sambhranta palayana paranripa. Moga. Sri Sukuvacha Sevam samsato dharmam vacha pratyur achetasaha Navagrananta sampranta palayana paranripa. Sri Sukuvacha Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, Te, they, evam, thus, sangsataha, praising, dharma, the principles of religion, vachaha, the words, pratyu, of their master, achetasaha, their minds being very disturbed, na, not, eva, indeed, agananta, accepted, sambranta, fearful, palayana para, intent upon fleeing, nripa, O king. Translation. There's no purport. I think there's a few verses here we'll read. Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, O king, Vṛtrāsura, the commander-in-chief of the demons, advised his lieutenants in the principles of religion, but the cowardly demoniac commanders, intent upon fleeing the battlefield, were so disturbed by fear that they could not accept his words. Text 2 and 3. O King Pṛkit, the demigods, taking advantage of a favorable opportunity presented by time, attacked the army of the demons from the rear and began driving away the demoniac soldiers, scattering them here and there as if their army had no leader. Seeing the pitiable condition of his soldiers, Vṛtrāsura, the best of the Suras, who was also called Indra Shatru, the enemy of Indra, was very much aggrieved. Unable to tolerate such reverses, he stopped and forcefully rebuked the demigods, speaking the following words in an angry mood. Text 4. O demigods, these demoniac soldiers have taken birth uselessly. Indeed, they have come from the bodies of their mothers exactly like stool. What is the benefit of killing such enemies from behind while they are running in fear? One who considers himself a hero should not kill an enemy who is afraid of losing his life. Such killing is never glorious, nor can it promote one to the heavenly planets. Purport. Vṛtrāsura rebuked both the demigods and the demoniac soldiers because the demons were running in fear of their lives and the demigods were killing them from behind. The actions of both were abominable. When a fight takes place, the opposing parties must be prepared to fight like heroes. A hero never runs from the field of the battle. He always fights face to face, determined to gain victory or lay down his life in the fight. That is heroic. Killing an enemy from behind is also inglorious. When an enemy turns his back and runs in fear of his life, he should not be killed. This is the etiquette of military science. Vṛtrāsura insulted the demoniac soldiers by comparing them to the stool of their mothers. Both stool and a cowardly son come from the abdomen of the mother, and Vṛtrāsura said that there was no difference between them. That's heavy. A similar comparison was given by Tulsidas, who commented that his son and urine both come from the same channel. In other words, semen and urine both come from the genitals, but the semen produces a child, whereas urine produces nothing. Therefore, if a child is neither a hero nor a devotee, he is not a son but urine. Similarly, Chanakya Pandit also says, Korta putrena jatena yona vidvan nadharmika kanena chaksusa kingva chaksu pidhaiva kevalam. What is the use of a son who is neither glorious nor devoted to the Lord? Such a son is like a blind eye, which simply gives pain, but cannot help one see. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshram Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Mukham Kurtavatalang Pangunlang Haite Gurim Yat Kripa Taraham Bande Shugurim Pinataranam Vancha Kalpa Tubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Devacha Patitanam Bhavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Here we're seeing how the demoniac soldiers are experiencing some fear because of the chivalry of the demigods. And fear is an emotion that is pretty prominent all over the world. People fear losing their money. They put it in the bank. Or I have a friend, he's got his money locked up in a safe in Mayapur. So people have safes, banks, people afraid of losing their wife. Sometimes people lose their wives, or people are afraid of losing their husband. I remember my sister, she was very afraid of losing her husband. And then after some time, she divorced him. A little turn of events. So yeah, whatever one is attached to, they're afraid of losing. So a devotee is afraid of losing Krishna consciousness. Afraid of that. In the Bhagavad Gita, in one purport, Prabhupada says that fear arises from not knowing what the future will be. Not knowing what the future will be. We don't know. People fear death. We don't know when we're going to die. Except for Bhishma. He chose when he would die. So there's no fear of death for Bhishma. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says, forget the past that sleeps, nor the future dream at all, but live in times that are with thee, and progress thee shall call. So a devotee lives in the present. And I think it's Prabhupada, he said that one who lives in the past, this is the mode of ignorance. Living on their laurels, I did this and I did that. And many people, they live in the future. They're thinking, just like we go to universities and they're thinking of the future. They're in college to be an engineer or a doctor, living in the future. But a devotee lives in the present. There's another statement that the past is history, the future is a mystery, today is a gift. That's why they call it the present. So, also in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says about fear, Vṛtrāsura bhaya krodha, manmaya mo bhajata, bhavo jnana tapasa putam bhavamagata. Being freed from attachment, fear, and anger, and being fully absorbed in me. Many, many persons have become purified by knowledge of me, and have thus attained me. So these are the enemies of the soul, attachment. Of course, we can't give up attachment. We want to be very attached to Krishna. Yeah, we're not dead stones. Dead stones don't have any attachments. So devotees want to be very attached to Krishna, but we want to give up attachment to Maya. And even we fear Maya. Prabhupada said, my disciples have two diseases. Anybody know? One, not enough afraid of Maya. And? Anybody remember the other one? Like to change things. Like to change things. Just there was that one devotee, he said, Prabhupada, this movement is so wonderful. But if we just change it to having 3 regular principles instead of 4, it'd grow a lot faster. Yeah. No illicit sex. Prabhupada said no. He said, I'm not interested in just having a bunch of stars. If I could just have one moon. One devotee, one pure devotee come out of this movement, then success. So this is one of the major emotions in the material world, is fear. So where does this fear come from, one may ask? Just like everything, it comes from Krishna. Krishna also has fear. Anybody know where Krishna is feeling fear? Huh? Mother Yasoda. He's running in fear. Mother Yasoda, she's going to bind him. She's going to hit him with a stick. He's in fear. Also, he fears displeasing Radharani. And Radharani fears displeasing Krishna. And we should fear displeasing Krishna as well. Displeasing our spiritual master. It's like that in Christianity they have this God-fearing, which is good. I used to think that it meant that God is so great, just you fear God. Because He's so great, you fear God. But I heard recently one Christian said, no, it's not. But we fear displeasing God, which is nice. We have that also. We fear displeasing God, which is nice. And one of the big things with Arjuna in the battle, or in this Kurukshetra, was that he feared offending his guru, Dronacharya, and his grandfather, Bhishma. Bhishma had so much respect. He was the most respected person on the planet, practically. Everybody loved Bhishma. And now he's being instructed by Krishna to kill Bhishma. I mean, it's hard to even conceive of that. Imagine, I can't even say this in a sentence. Imagine your guru tells you to K-I-L-L Prabhupada. I mean, I mean, you can't, just to say it in a sentence, it's like, you know, right? So that's what Arjuna was being asked to do, to kill his most dear grandfather. Can't imagine how much affection. And his teacher taught him everything he knows about archery, about his kshatriya abilities. So much love. So these are the two most dear to Arjuna, and he's being asked to kill him. Very difficult. So that fear was justified. But what did Krishna say? Natvevaham jatinasam. Natvevaham jatinasam. Was it? Natvevaham jatinasam. Natondame jatinasam. Chaivana bhavasya sarvemya ataparam. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor any of these kings, nor shall in the future any of you cease to exist. So that's the second chapter, you know, the basics. The soul is eternal. Dehi no smin yata dehe. The soul is going through the body. It's going to continue when the body dies. So, from Krishna's powerful preaching, he's a good preacher, Krishna. A very good preacher. He convinced. And he convinced Arjuna to fight. And he understood. Krishna said that he's going to either go to heaven or he's going to have a very bright future. Yeah. Just like devotees. Devotees, in the same purport where Prabhupada says that fear arising from not knowing what the future will be, in that same purport, Prabhupada says that devotees, they have no fear about the future because they're engaged in Krishna consciousness. And their future is very bright because they'll go back to Godhead. Hopefully. We're praying and hoping this is the case. This is what we're shooting for. Right? So devotees have a very bright future. And all we have to do is stick with it. Just like a son of a very wealthy man, all he has to do is stay alive. And he's going to get a huge inheritance. Similarly, all we have to do is stay alive in Krishna consciousness. Stay alive in Krishna consciousness. Don't blow it. Don't make any mistakes, major mistakes. Of course, the nature of the conditioned souls, you make mistakes. Prabhupada said, you chant 16 rounds a day, you follow 4 regular principles, at the end of this life you go back to Godhead. But there also has to be the quality. Not that we just chant. That's not good. We got to chant with good quality. That's the challenge. That's the big challenge. So Arjuna was convinced. And what did he do before the battle took place? Out of respect for Bhishma, he shot an arrow and it went right to his feet. Dandavats. And then Bhishma sent a a letter, sent an arrow back to Arjuna, giving his blessings. I just heard that yesterday. Prabhupada said in a lecture that Arjuna sent an arrow, dandavats. Bhishma sent an arrow, you have my blessings to defeat me. Interesting. So then he also shot an arrow to Dronacharya, obeisances to his feet. So then the battle began. And Prabhupada said if he had not done that, it would have been improper etiquette. There's another instance where, it's like Prabhupada said, we should have a great fear of Maya. There was an instance in the Chaitanya Charitamrita where Lord Chaitanya was traveling with one devotee, his servant, Krsna Das, and they came upon these Bhattaharis, were like gypsies, and they were somehow they got in his ear, and they convinced him to join, to go to them. And late at night, he left Lord Chaitanya. It's not that they come and kidnapped him. They got in his ear and they convinced him to go to their camp. So he left. And Lord Chaitanya is God, so he understood, so he went. And he saw that Krishnadas is there with these Bhattaharis. And he went to the Bhattaharis and said, you're sannyasis, I'm sannyasi, why are you giving me pain by taking away my brahmana? And he took him away, and they surrounded him to attack him with weapons. And this is probably the most violent section of the whole pastime of Lord Chaitanya. The weapons fell out of their hands and were cutting them. And imagine this complete pandemonium, screaming and crying, and they're getting all cut up by their own weapons. Don't mess with Lord Chaitanya. So he didn't have enough fear. Here he is. He's with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, God. And he leaves and goes bewildered by what happened. They would have these ladies that would lure people. So these Mayadevis, they lured him away, thinking he would get some sense gratification. Amazing, huh? Here he is. You can't get better association than that. The Supreme Personality of Godhead. But still, he went up. And the other, what was the other servant? Balabhadra Bhattacharya. Also. He was the other. I mean, there's only two that went traveling with Lord. He was the other person that traveled with Lord Chaitanya. And at one point he asked Lord Chaitanya if he can go see Krishna, because Krishna had appeared on the Jamuna, and everybody was going and they were seeing Krishna on the Jamuna. And what did Lord Chaitanya do? Slapped him in the face. Gave him a slap. And then some gentleman came the next day, and Lord Chaitanya said, I have heard that Krishna has appeared on Jamuna and people are going and seeing Krishna. He said, no, it's just he's a fisherman out there, and he's got a lamp, and they're thinking that's the jewels that are reflecting Krishna. They're thinking that the boat is, was it Kaliya serpent or something? Just amazing. I mean, here he is. He's actually with God, with Krishna right there, Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he's thinking that Krishna's, out on some boat, some fisherman. It's amazing how strong Maya can be. Of course, these aren't ordinary personalities. Krishnadas, he's right there with Lord Chaitanya and Balabhadra also. They're not ordinary personalities, but to show that we have to be very careful. Even in the association of the Supreme Personality of God, one can become bewildered. There's another instance where there's Jamadagni. He had a wife named Renuka, and she was out getting some water, and she saw the king of Gandharvas there, and she became attracted. Some thought, illicit thought came. So when she went back to the camp where Jamadagni was, and she had sons, she was ashamed. She put the pot there and felt ashamed. And Jamadagni told his sons, kill her. Told the eldest, kill her. Wouldn't do it. The other one said, kill her. Wouldn't do it. He told Parashram, kill her. He immediately did it. And he said also, kill the other sons because they disobeyed me. Like super heavy. Like really heavy. Yeah? They disobeyed me, kill them as well. Immediately he killed the brothers, and he killed the mother. And then he was so pleased, Jamadagni was so pleased with Parashram. He said, I'll give you any benediction, what do you want? Please bring my mother and brothers back to life without the remembrance that I killed them. He said, so be it. And then it was like they woke up from sleep. They were very happy. No remembrance. Amazing abilities, huh? So, what we should fear is displeasing Krishna, displeasing the devotees, offending devotees. If we offend devotees, then our life becomes very precarious. You're very respectful. Therefore, that verse is there by Lord Chaitanya. Tanadapi sunichena, tarorapi sisna, amanida amanidena kyutaniya sadari. And to think ourselves lower than the straw on the street. See, if we think ourselves very low, then how could we possibly offend anyone, right? If we're thinking we're the lowest, then we'll always be respectful towards everyone else. But if we're thinking we're something, we're really something, then it's easy to offend someone. So therefore he says, think oneself lower than the straw on the street, more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, ready to offer all respects to others without desiring respect for oneself. In such a state of mind, we could chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. And this is what we want. So this is the key. This is the key to chanting the holy name constantly. Humility. Humility is the key. And also there's that amazing pastime of Bali Maharaj, who he conquered the demigods. And then Lord Vamana comes. He was the younger brother of Indra. I didn't have a god as your brother, younger brother. So he went in there as a dwarf Brahmana, very attractive. He just wanted 3 paces of land. When Indra said, I'll give you anything you want. No, just take 3 paces of land. He said, don't you know, I'm the king. I'm the king of the 3 worlds. I give you anything you want. You just want 3 paces. And he had little feet, it's not going to take much. No. I'll be satisfied with that. And Sukacharya, this is a trick. This is a trick. Don't do it. Don't give him any land. He'll take everything from you. So then Bali was surprised. He said, all along you've been teaching me to worship Vishnu. Now Vishnu's appeared. Now you're telling me not to worship. What is this? Hypocrisy. So Bali said, I don't fear death. I don't fear losing all my wealth. But what I fear more than anything else is cheating a Brahmana. This is what he said. I fear more than anything else. So we should have that fear also. Fear of offending or cheating a Vaishnava. Very important. So we also have fear. And we should also have fear of falling into Maya, becoming bewildered by the illusory energy. Therefore, Prapanam paimami sabitam mritu gahardavat. And when Lord Krishna was speaking to Uddhava in the Uddhava Gita, he said, this is how you should pray to me. Please protect me. I'm trying to surrender unto you. I'm very fearful of this material existence, standing as I am in the mouth of death. This is how we should pray to the Lord. To have a great fear of Maya. Maya is so powerful. I was just reading in the Uddhava Gita also, Krishna says that the mind is like, it has godlike power. The mind has godlike power. It's so powerful. So powerful. And he also says in the Uddhava Gita, of difficult things to conquer, I'm the mind. So difficult to conquer the mind. But Krishna, he's more powerful than the godlike power of our mind. So we got to take shelter of Krishna. That's our only hope for overcoming this godlike, powerful mind. So powerful. Even big devotees become bewildered by the power of the mind, power of the senses. So we'd be very careful and pray very sincerely for protection. So is there any question or comment? Discussion? Okay. Nothing? Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I guess this is so I can go on Sankirtan. I'm supposed to be on Sankirtan right now.